Amaral. I'm from Toronto.
Did you grow up here?
Yes, I was born here.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about growing up in Toronto.
Toronto is my favorite place in the world. Growing up in Toronto, it's always been a safe place. Tons of stuff to do, friends from all over the world, and I'm lucky enough to have a large extended family here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How big is your family?
Immediate family is 4,
Mhm.
and I have 15 cousins here.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah.
Are they same age or older?
Ranging between like 7 years younger than me, and like about 7 older. So
Mhm.
yeah.
If you compare the educational system at a university and a college, what is the difference there?
I was lucky enough to study at both University of Toronto and George Brown, and the difference I would say would be, for the most part, class sizes at U of T are quite larger. So at George Brown there's a lot more collaboration, a lot more group work for
Mhm.
sure, and as I've recently experienced, like in certain research projects, it's a lot more hands-on.
Mm-hmm. Have you worked with newcomers in both of these schools?
At U of T, not so much. There are international students, but some will leave after the program. Some end up staying, but definitely at George Brown, I've worked directly with newcomers, much more so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does working with newcomers?
Working with newcomers is a lot about kind of, the newcomers I've worked with all have had the education and skills, so a lot of it is more so getting them to feel comfortable, feel confident, and making them aware of the resources that are in place so that they can use their skills and work experience there.
Have you had some challenges?
This was my first extended project with newcomers, so a lot of it I was learning it for myself.
Mm.
So I was learning from the rest of our research team, and the biggest challenge I would say would be kind of finding the right balance between helping them but at the same time gathering the data and not skewing or impacting the study, because at times I would confuse the first stage of the study, which was what did we call it, the the information gathering phase. I'm not sure what it's called,
Yeah.
but at that point we can't necessarily intervene.
Mhm.
So I 1 or 2 times I did, so just kind of learning how a research study progresses and at what point you can kind of alter,
Right.
provide your own input. Yeah.
Now, what about actual working with newcomers in your classes? So not the research,
Right.
but your own classes. Has there been any challenges working with newcomers? that
Okay,
way?
so in terms of group work and stuff like
Yeah.
that, not challenges, more just kind of seeing different ways of learning. But that is kind of the same for even people from here. Like some people type everything out and aren't necessarily like outgoing, and but I wouldn't say it's like necessarily pertains to them being newcomers. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that the same anywhere?
From my experience, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What would be have you had issues with language?
A little bit,
Yeah.
a little bit. But I mean, like I said, I grew up in Toronto. I'm used to like not everyone speaking the same language, and with patience, like it's fine. Yeah.
But what are the challenges?
What are challenges? I know sometimes, especially more technical terms,
Mm-hmm.
they're not, colloquial, so they're not used every day. So if you're in, for example, this is not so much recent, but when like high school, for example, like a high school or math class, there's certain words which like us native speakers barely know. So
Right.
someone who's new here will never have heard. So it just takes a little bit more time. But
Right.
to be honest, that's not a problem I've had.
Right.
Because,
Now, what do you think about the idea that, Toronto is supposed to be this multicultural environment, but is it really?
It's definitely a multicultural environment. What we would like to see more of is multiculturalism in positions that matter, positions where people can impact and drive change, because that's when you have true multiculturalism, is in positions of power and influence. Yeah.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Good. If you have a newcomer that you'd like to give them your kind of a wisdom on
Right.
how to belong in this country, what
Mhm.
would that be?
Definitely know that there are millions of people in the same position as yourself. So even though it's inevitable you'll feel alone or that you're in a unique position, you're not. So definitely knowing that there are resources out there and understanding where to find them, and quickly you'll find kind of your own niche. You can even find people from the same country that you're from who can share similar stories, and yeah.
So two more things. One is, are you close to your parents?
Super close.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you learned from your parents that you bring to the workplace?
I know this sounds super cliche, but work ethic for sure, because they, like I said, I grew up here having this huge network of people, but they didn't. And so everyone they've met, every opportunity they were given or was presented to them was due to their own work. So that's, I've kind of learned to not pass up opportunities, kind of keep my schedule full. Not so much to say no to opportunities, because that's something they would never do, and they would probably criticize me if I did. I am Canada.